One of the best political videos I've seen in a long time is from CNN. As they're going through the polling data, they are shocked to discover in the 2020 cycle, Donald Trump never beat Joe Biden in the polls. And people said, yeah, well, there's a polling error. And Trump actually, he lost by about 42,000 votes across 3 states. This is important context when you consider the Electoral College. It was 3 swing states where he could have won. In 2016, Donald Trump won by only around 77,000 votes. I believe those are the numbers. I could be getting them wrong. So it's actually quite narrow. Now, CNN recognizes that Donald Trump is ahead of Joe Biden, and they've never seen this before. I should say they did not see this in the 2020 cycle, suggesting come November of next year, Donald Trump will win. That is not taking into consideration any variables over the next year, because who knows what's going to happen. It's going to get wild. But right now, we've got new polling from the Washington Post showing Donald Trump beating Joe Biden by 10 points. And this is factored into 538, and they are panicked and desperate. And what they're trying to claim is it's an outlier poll. It's just, don't worry, ignore it. But there are 2 polls. I believe one's got him up 9, one's got him up 10. And not to mention, if you go back in time, to a few other polls over the past couple of weeks, what do you see? The same trend. I don't trust polls. I think it's all a bunch of nonsense. I think you need to only look at the price of gas, the state of the economy. And right now, people are kind of worried about where the economy is going. Yeah, it's weird. But the Democrats desperately need young people to support them. People get older, they start to vote Republican. And right now, there's a trend on TikTok of people posting their groceries. Yo, Democrats, when millennials and Gen Z on TikTok are posting their grocery list and how much it cost them, I think y'all are in trouble. It's so fascinating. We were recently vacationing down in North Carolina, and I went to the grocery store and we bought 2 bags of food, and it ended up costing like $100 and something. And people were like, yeah, what did you get? What did you get? We got like 2 things of bacon, a thing of eggs. No, I think we got a carton of eggs, 2 things of bacon, some sour cream, some chips, some hot sauce. What else did we get? And some coffee or whatever. And it was 2 bags, and it was technically only 1.5 bags because one had the big tortilla chips in it. And I'm like, yeah, it's like $100. And people it was so weird because the tweet got 1,000+ retweets. Tons of people are saying like, dude, yes, this is crazy. And then others were saying, you're lying, you're making this up. And that's the weirdest thing. I wasn't making it up. I was like, dang, I didn't realize it was going to be so expensive. I thought like, yo, I'm not kidding. I thought it was going to be maybe like $50-$60. It was like over 100 and something. I can't remember. You can look up the tweet. I posted it. But then I get all these people ratioing me on Twitter saying, you're lying. And it's like, y'all are creepy. That's so weird. You think I went to the grocery store and lied? They're like, show the receipt. And I'm like, dude, shut up. I'm making some grand political statement, but you can see the panic. The panic sets in. So why is Trump doing better in the polls? Man, I got to tell you. For one, there are cultural victories happening across the board that we must recognize. The panic, it's palpable. Look what they're doing to Russell Brand. They are terrified. They're terrified. Oh, you shaking. Oh, they're coming for all of us. They ain't stopping with Russell Brand. But look, I just got to put it this way. At what point, guys, deep state, UK government, woke people, whatever. At what point do you stop and say, this is ineffective? It's not working what we're doing. And you try something else. I mean, I get it. If the building's on fire and all you've got is a garden hose, you'll just keep spraying, hoping that you're doing something. But at a certain point, you need to change strategies. Maybe it's that you lack the resources to actually figure out what you're doing, or, to put it simply, perhaps the fire is the actual agenda. Perhaps that's the real reason. Maybe you're the deep state. Yeah, you and I. No, I don't think so. But if you really do look at it, you got these Malthusian international corporate interests. And then you get the Democrats being like, don't have kids. It's bad for the environment, and sterilize your kids and abort your babies. And it's like, I have to wonder about that. I've often said, I don't think Bill Gates hates Republicans. I think he hates Democrats. You look, I'm sorry, man. If you go up to somebody and you say, have you considered sterilizing your kid? Or have you thought about abortion? Is abortion right for you? I'm like, I don't think you like that person. Imagine a friend of yours gets pregnant And they're like, and her and her husband, or they come to you and they're like, we're pregnant, we're having a kid. And you go, have you considered an abortion? Yeah, I don't think you are expressing love for these people. So when I look at what Democrat politicians propose for their own constituents, I'm like, I kind of wonder if the real agenda is they like us better. Now, as I've often explained when we talk about this stuff, look, if you have chickens, we all know chickens are based AF, and half of them keep pooping in the water, and the other half don't, and you go, or all your chickens are pooping in the water. You go out there and you say, hey, you chickens, you stop pooping in that water. I can't clean this. You can't drink it. You're getting sick. It's bad. It smells. The next day you come out, half the chickens have stopped, half are still doing it. Which chickens are you going to breed? So I'm thinking about this like the United States, this world, they view it like a chicken coop. They view it as statistics. Why do they not care about open borders? Because it's more people. They don't care about what you think or believe. All they care about is maintaining a system. They want more people, more, and they want to, it's like chicken coop wars. That's really, everyone's trying to build the biggest chicken coop. Control people, don't care about the individuals. So they'll open the borders up. They'll bring as many people as possible in to expand the amount of people in this country for economic purposes. More people doing more work. You manufacture more things. Now, that depresses everybody, but they're looking at it like this. If we lower the living standard of every American by 5-10%, but we bring in 10 million people, we may get a depressed standard of living, and there's a diminishing return, like we reduce productivity amongst many of these people, but the general increase in productivity for the country as a whole is slightly better. Thus, they don't care about you. But this is my point. Maybe. And I'm not saying I believe it's absolutely true, but look, depends on how sophisticated you think the machine really is. You would want independently minded people who don't protest. Think about the left. They go and firebomb things. That's disruptive, but it riles up and it rallies people to vote against it. And we talked about this in 2020. The resulting backlash of chaos and riots is more right-wing government. So think about it this way. You've got smart people, hardworking people. They believe in meritocracy, individual responsibility. They typically don't protest all that much. They want to be left alone. They want to be with their families. They want to survive. Now, if you were trying to build the biggest, strongest chicken coop because you wanted global domination or whatever it is, however you describe it, which group of people do you want? Now, a lot of people would argue like, no, they want the calm and the obedient. No, these people can't solve problems and they protest too much. They're a raucous bunch. You want people who are going to be like, let me go back to work. And then you can do your thing. Granted, there are problems then when you get loud voices like Russell Brand. So don't get me wrong. There is a desire to silence people like you and I. And I think they would prefer much more like the Mitt Romney types. Let's take a look at the news. Let's talk about what's going on with Donald Trump crushing it in the polls. Timcast.com reports the Washington Post is downplaying its own poll that shows former President Donald Trump handily defeating President Joe Biden in a hypothetical 2024 matchup. The newspaper said that their poll, conducted with ABC News, is likely an outlier. It's just an outlier, and cited other polls that show a much closer race. In the analysis of the results, the Washington Post wrote, the post-ABC poll shows Biden trailing Trump by 10 points at this early stage in the election cycle. Although the sizable margin of Trump's lead in the survey is significantly at odds with other public polls that show the general election contest a virtual dead heat, the difference between this poll and others, as well as the unusual makeup of Trump's and Biden's coalitions in the survey, suggests it is probably an outlier. To be fair, they're probably right. Seriously, they're probably right. I do think it's an outlier, but it probably is favorable to Trump to a great degree. Here we have interactive polls giving us the basic numbers. Donald Trump 52 to Biden's 42. Among independents, Trump is up 13%. And I believe it. I'm sorry, I believe it. I don't know about general 10 points up, but among independents, I believe it. Yo, look, man, Joe Rogan. There's this clip going viral from when he was talking with Patrick Bet-David. And he's saying, Trump had this, Trump did this, Trump did this. And he was like, all these things were good. And then Patrick Bet-David says, will you vote for him? And Rogan's like, I said I'd vote for him over Biden a while ago. And this sounds like as close as you're going to get to Joe Rogan being like, I'm voting for Trump. These people, they live in this crackpot reality. They hated Trump so much that they've burned this country to the ground. Do we really want to be at war in Ukraine? Man, that's crazy. I have conflicted emotions. There's a lot of really good points that are brought up as it pertains to U.S. foreign policy that give me pause. South Korea, what an amazing place. And you look at South Korea and you look at North Korea, and you've got what are we doing? Where are we going on now? Like 60, 70-year experiment on splitting a nation in half, making one half capitalist, one half communist, and seeing how it works. We know how it works. Korea, South Korea, is functioning fairly well. There's wealth, there's abundance. They have a constitution with civil rights, and North Korea is a failure. Now, of course, the commies, they'll say things like, well, it's because the West suppresses them. I'm like, oh, shut up. They've got allies with Russia and China. They get supplies. This system just does not work. But you take a look at how this is done. It's done through effectively a U.S. military occupation of the region. And there are many people who might argue, like, why are we over there in South Korea? And then I think about how great it is. Yeah. You take a look at Afghanistan, and I wonder if the failures of the Biden administration, which led to his unfavorability, a large portion of it, I look at that, and there is a sadness I have for what Afghanistan could have become. In order to nation build, you need 3 generations, and we got, I think, 1 out of Afghanistan, and then we left. I think it could have been maintained, but it wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been akin to South Korea, but it would have been stabilized to a great degree. First, I don't believe the U.S. should be invading other countries to build their nation and shift their culture. That, in my view, is evil. In the event that we have spent a generation there, I am saddened by the thought that we lost an opportunity to create a stable society of healthy, happy people. But I suppose the problem is, first, like I said, we shouldn't have been there. No excuses. Iraq or Afghanistan. What was this? Our pincer strike on Iran surround the nation? Get out of here. These people are awful. But after 20 years of us being there, the thought should have been, how do we leave in such a manner that we allow this place to remain stable? Hey, we're still in South Korea. We've never left. The question was, why are we in Afghanistan? They couldn't articulate it properly. And I think they could have. I think the response is, retain logistics in the area, raise and educate as many Afghani nationals as possible to build pride in their culture, their community, give them stories of success, and then we remain hands off and we exit the country. It was a mistake to be there. What Biden did was despicable. Yes, we wanted to get out, but man. So I look at these things and I have questions about Ukraine, right? And whether or not it is better or worse. Well, it's an entirely different question now. It's an entirely different question. And I think what we see with Donald Trump is this. I do not believe that American values will be upheld and we can maintain a nation we look to South Korea and we say, look what an amazing job we've done. Sure, we're doing a great job overseas with other countries after 50 years, but in our own backyard, Detroit falling apart, Flint, Michigan's water pipes, Pittsburgh's pipes, Newark's pipes, crime running rampant. And I'm supposed to sit here and be like, but Afghanistan? I'm sorry. Donald Trump's message, secure our borders, build up the economy for the American people, restore traditional values. Would this country not be better if we needed more people? Just encourage people to make more people. Guess what? People make more of themselves. How about that? Instead, we're importing tons of people. And I think this is only leading to instability. For what purpose? Short-term gains always tends to be the obvious answer. Among these global and political elites here in the United States, the left tends to take the path of least resistance, short-term gains method. They don't think about the long-term effects. If you want to secure Ukraine for NATO, you cannot have what's happening in Europe and the United States on their southern borders. It's illogical. But perhaps those that are currently running the system who've inherited it, the political class, don't understand how to make this machine work, and thus they're screwing up across the board, which is why part of me wants to believe, no, maybe the screw up's on purpose. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Right now, seeing Trump succeed, you have to wonder, how do you get a traditional American resurgence? If it really is that China is trying to make this country woke, perhaps there are people in power that know this. How would you go about doing it? Well, there's a million and one interpretations, but I can give you an optimistic one, I suppose, that'll make you maybe want to trust the government, though you probably shouldn't, ever. And it is that our institutions are invaded. Powerful individuals in this country realize this, and here's the conspiracy theory. Donald Trump comes in and starts pushing these traditional values. They know This will result in a backlash among the woke injection that we saw from China, Russia, and all of our other adversaries who seek to sow discord. Donald Trump gets in, cleans things up a little bit. But it's not enough. How do you get independent voters to swing in the direction of American values, traditional values, hard work, meritocracy, personal responsibility, etc., which will undoubtedly make your nation stronger? You give them the rat hope experiment. You put them in the vat. You put them in the tube for which they can't escape, which is Joe Biden. And then you lift them out and you bring back Donald Trump. Of course, this argument could go in the dark direction in that while giving people Donald Trump, they all freak out, then giving them Joe Biden, so they, wait, Trump was better. Look at the independents swinging for Trump in this poll. Yeah, this could result in more people voting for Donald Trump because they experienced how awful it really is under Joe Biden. Trump's not perfect. I'm not saying any of this stuff is true. I'm just saying consider all of the variables in what's happening. It could just be nationalism versus internationalism, as some have suggested, and international interests, which, want this Western bloc and eventually global domination. They're just losing. They're losing. I'll tell you my ideal world. My ideal world is secure U.S. borders, secure Mexican and Canadian borders, secure European borders, people deciding for themselves how they live and who they allow into their nation, into their community, in their families. However, an international body that can assist in the adjudication of resource and territory disputes so that we do not engage in war. Now, I suppose the issue is Russia and China don't agree. We do not have global dominance to bring about such a system, and the system in question is disputed. I suppose there's more than enough data and more than enough anecdotes to suggest that there are elements of the United States that are working alongside China, and they believe in global-style Chinese communism. You will own nothing and you will be happy. So again, I may be saying my conspiracy theory is that they wanted Trump all along. I'm not saying that literally I believe that will be the case. I'm just saying that there is a strong reason to believe that Donald Trump could win, and they are screwing up so badly it almost looks like it's on purpose. Here's 538, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they say these are outlier polls. Don't trust them. Okay, fair point. We've got polling from the similar the same time frame. WPA Intelligence showing Biden up 2. However, you have Hart researchers, NBC News, showing Trump up 3. They have a Biden versus Haley. Haley beats Joe Biden. And then Biden versus DeSantis. DeSantis loses to Biden. That's crazy. Harris X has Trump up. ActiveVote has Trump up. Let me stress, the Haley and DeSantis polls are irrelevant. In most of the polls we have over the past several weeks, Donald Trump is beating Joe Biden handily. There are many variables that we face in the coming year, so we'll see. YouGov has Biden beating Youngkin by Biden beats Youngkin by 8, DeSantis by 3, but with Trump he's tied. Emerson has Trump up. The only polls you see doing really well for Biden are the ones that are isolating other GOP contenders. Now in New Hampshire against Pence, he's up 29 points. Surprisingly, Trump is leading the pack. Biden beats him by 12, but 12 is the lowest. Ramaswamy's losing by 17. Let's go back to September 17th. Trump is up. Biden versus Trump. Okay, Redfield's got Biden up 1. And tied with Morning Consult, it looks like across the board, Trump is the favorite. Do they have the actual, what do they have? Where's it at? Who's ahead in the Republican primary? You know what, man? It's funny they're not showing the aggregate because let's do this. I'm going to pull up the Real Clear Politics, Trump versus Biden. And I think Trump is good. Trump is currently up in aggregate 1.6%. We never saw this. In 2020, we did not see Trump beating Joe Biden. And you take a look at all of these polls over the past few weeks, and as of the 13th, with all of these polls, Trump is up, and there's a handful of ties. And ABC has Trump up 10 points. I love that. The best Biden can muster is from the beginning of September up to mid-September. Biden was winning in only 3 polls. Only 3. And that's amazing. It's not the first time that Trump has taken the lead, mind you. From April through July, Trump was ahead by a comparable amount. In fact, at one point, Trump was up quite a bit over 2.5 points. So it's not the best position Trump has been in, but it is interesting to see that as of right now, Donald Trump is doing this well. Next year, we will be entertained with many variables in the political space. What will happen to Donald Trump? Will he be convicted? I think so. I don't see how any of these jurisdictions are just going to let him go. How any of these juries are going to be like, yeah, we're totally fine with everything Trump did. Yeah, right. Yo, you look at the January 6th defendants. These are all trial balloons. Will a tainted jury destroy the life of a man? Yes or no? Okay, well, look no further to the D.C. jury pool. Look at what happens to someone like Enrique Tarrio, who's not even at January 6th. 2 decades in prison. So what do you think? New York, what is it? And Georgia. And I don't think D.C. I think it might be Florida. What do you think they're going to do to Donald Trump? Now, Florida, yeah, maybe Trump gets off that one. But Georgia? Yeah, right. Fulton County? New York? Yeah, right. They are going to not just throw the book at him, they're going to throw the bookshelf at him to do anything. But who knows? There's a lot that may occur here. Now, I want to point out that a Messenger poll has Trump up 5 points. So they say, this is just an outlier poll. Messenger has 3,015 registered voters. 3,000. That's a large sample size. Morning Consult with 6,000 shows a tie. I mean, this is incredible stuff. They say it's just an outlier. Why? During the same time period, Messenger found Trump up 5 points. I think Donald Trump gave us a great economy in 2019, and everyone knows it. I think 4 years under Joe Biden was enough to make anyone vote for a ham sandwich. And it's really among independent voters. Democrats are refusing to acknowledge cultural issues that are pissing people off. In fact, they double down on them. It won't fly. However, for all we know, Trump, comes out in a month and kicks a dog or something, and then his polling drops. I have no idea. We'll see. I'll leave it there, my friends. Next segment is coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.